What happens when life breaks you down to your very core, when loss, loneliness, and hardship become your only companions? Imagine standing alone on a dying farm, with nothing left but the echoes of dreams and the weight of silence. This is the story of two broken souls who dared to believe that even in the harshest deserts, life can bloom again. It's a story of resilience, of quiet strength, and a love born not from passion, but from patience and hope. Join me as we uncover the journey of Amelia and Ethan, a journey that reminds us all, no matter how deep the struggle, a new beginning is always possible. If you believe in stories of hope, healing, and the quiet power of love, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe and join our community where we share real stories that touch the heart and inspire the soul. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new journey that could change your life. Amelia Hart sat on the creaking wooden porch of her farmhouse, her eyes tracing the endless stretch of cracked earth that used to be her vibrant fields. The sun hung low in the dusty sky, casting a tired orange glow over the barren land. 2 years had passed since her husband's sudden death, and with each season, the farm had slipped further into silence and decay. The wind whispered through broken fences, carrying the faint scent of dried grass and forgotten dreams. Her hands rested on her lap, rough from years of toil, but now strangely idle. The weight of solitude pressed on her chest, heavier with every sunset. The old barn sagged in the distance, its roof missing shingles like teeth lost to time. The animals she had managed to keep were thin and listless, their eyes reflecting the same exhaustion she felt deep within. She had never imagined life without James, her husband, strong, steady, and the heartbeat of the farm. Their dreams of growing a family, tending the land together, seemed like whispers from a distant past. Even the quiet nights felt louder now, filled with the echoes of laughter and love that had vanished. One evening, as the cool air settled around her and the first stars began to blink awake, Amelia unfolded the brittle pages of the local newspaper. Her eyes caught a small advertisement nestled between faded columns: husbands by mail, honest men wanted. Willing to work hard, no promises of romance. A faint flicker of something, hope, desperation, stirred inside her. With trembling fingers, she took out a sheet of paper and a worn pen. She wrote a letter, not filled with promises or fantasies, but with truth. She spoke of the harshness of the land, the silence that filled the rooms, and the simple longing for a companion who understood the quiet struggles of the farm. She asked for honesty above all, a man who would not expect love to bloom overnight, but who was willing to stand steady beside her through the dust and wind. Weeks passed, long and slow. Amelia's days blurred together, feeding the animals, patching fences, staring at the horizon as if it might answer her prayers. Then one afternoon, a letter arrived, its edges worn and the handwriting uneven but strong. It was from Ethan Cole. He wrote of his own losses, a wife taken too soon, a past marked by hardship but tempered by hope. He did not promise riches or easy days, only his determination to work hard, to rebuild not just a farm but a life. Amelia read his words again and again, feeling a cautious warmth spread through her chest. For the first time in a long time, she allowed herself to imagine a future, not perfect, but shared. Not without pain, but with the promise of two hearts bearing the weight together. The lonely struggle was far from over, but now she wasn't facing it alone. Ethan Cole arrived at the farm just as the morning mist clung to the earth, softening the harsh edges of the cracked fields. His clothes were threadbare, stained with dust and sweat from a journey far longer and harder than the few miles that separated him from Amelia's doorstep. But in his eyes burned a quiet fire, a steadfast resolve that no hardship could extinguish. Amelia met him at the gate, her gaze searching his weathered face for any sign of the man behind the letter. There was no grand welcome, no promises whispered in the cool dawn, only the sound of a door creaking open, and the steady rhythm of two lives beginning to intertwine. From the first day, Ethan set to work without complaint. His hands, rough and scarred from years of labor, moved with purpose and care. He climbed up to mend the sagging roof, hammering nails that echoed like heartbeats against the silence. He repaired the broken fences, knotting wire with the patience of a man who understood that strength was built one piece at a time. Amelia watched, sometimes from the porch, sometimes shoulder to shoulder with him, her own hands aching but steady. She found in Ethan's presence a balm for the loneliness that had hollowed her out. He rarely spoke, but in every gesture, the way he tended the sick animals, the way he tilled the soil with gentle force, there was a promise kept. Days turned into weeks. The land, long parched and forgotten, began to stir beneath their efforts. Tiny green shoots pushed bravely through the cracked dirt, reaching toward the sun as if answering an unspoken vow. The garden, once overrun with weeds, bloomed with stubborn flowers, wild and unexpected, like their growing bond. Their conversations were sparse, but when they spoke, it was with honesty that cut through years of pain. Ethan shared fragments of his past, a wife lost to sickness, a life uprooted. Amelia, in turn, revealed her own wounds, the loss of her husband, and the child she never held. These stories hung between them like fragile threads, weaving a quiet understanding deeper than words. At night, they sat by the fire, the crackling flames reflecting the warmth that had begun to grow inside the farmhouse. The shadows no longer felt so long, and the silence was no longer empty. Instead, it was filled with the steady rhythm of two hearts learning to beat as one. Together, they rebuilt more than just a farm. They mended broken dreams, stitched up old wounds, and nurtured a love that was patient, gentle, and real. It was not the kind of love sung about in songs or written in novels. It was something quieter, stronger, born from the earth beneath their feet and the sweat on their brows. The farm was awakening. So were they. The seasons had shifted quietly over the farm, each day folding into the next with a steady rhythm of work and renewal. The once parched fields now wore a cloak of green, vibrant and alive. Flowers blossomed defiantly along the edges of the garden, their colors vivid against the backdrop of weathered wood and freshly mended fences. The animals, once frail and weary, now roamed with strength and energy, their soft sounds weaving a comforting symphony into the stillness of the morning. Amelia and Ethan moved through their days with a shared purpose, their silent understanding deepening into a bond unspoken but fiercely felt. The village had taken notice. Whispers followed them through dusty streets, some laced with suspicion, others softened by curiosity and hope. Yet, they paid little mind to the judgments. Their world was the farm, the soil beneath their boots, and the quiet hearth that welcomed them home each evening. One crisp autumn night, under a canopy of stars sharp and bright, Ethan led Amelia to the edge of the porch. The cool air was heavy with the scent of pine and earth. Without a word, he reached into his pocket and produced a simple silver band, worn smooth by years of use but shining faintly in the moonlight. Amelia's breath caught, emotion swirling in the space between them, fear, hope, grief, and a tender joy she had not dared to imagine. Their hands found each other, calloused and steady, a touch that spoke of promises made and kept. They sealed their union quietly, without ceremony or crowd, just two souls who had walked through the fire of loss and emerged together, stronger and whole. There was no need for grandeur, for declarations. Their commitment was etched into the very fabric of their lives. The farmhouse, once a hollow shell of memories and sorrow, now hummed with warmth and laughter. Even the wind seemed softer here, carrying the stories of healing and resilience. Ethan found the peace he had sought for so long in Amelia's steady presence, and she no longer bore the weight of loneliness. Their story was not one of fairy tales or sudden miracles, but a testament to the power of patience, courage, and quiet love. It was a journey from desolation to hope, from isolation to belonging, from grief to a future rebuilt together. As dawn broke over the horizon, painting the sky with soft gold and rose, Amelia looked out over their land, alive, thriving, and full of promise. Beside her, Ethan's hand rested gently on hers, a steady anchor in a world renewed. This was their new beginning. Amelia and Ethan's story is not just about rebuilding a farm, it is about rebuilding lives shattered by grief and hardship. It shows us that true strength isn't always loud or fast. Sometimes, it's the slow, steady work done in silence, the courage to face each day with determination, and the willingness to open one's heart again despite the fear of pain. Their journey teaches us that love doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, in shared glances, in simple acts of kindness, in the unspoken promise to stand together no matter what. From the cracked soil to the blooming garden, from isolation to belonging, their story is a testament to the power of hope and human connection. And it's a reminder to every one of us, no matter how lonely the struggle, no matter how heavy the past, a new beginning awaits those brave enough to embrace it. Thank you for watching Amelia and Ethan's journey, a story of resilience, patience, and the beautiful strength found in new beginnings. If this touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more stories like this to life. Remember, no matter where you are or what you're facing, you're never truly alone. See you in the next story.